Howdy neighbors, welcome back to the channel. On today's profile, we'll be featuring another Stoicheia archetype you guys will be getting familiar with very soon, especially with the Night Rose box set. It's Grand Blue. It's an archetype that has been seeing a lot of competitive play, so to be very honest, we're kind of covering a well-known deck, so the only card that we'll be really talking about in this archetype is going to be Witch Doctor of Dead Sea Negrobolt. So a friend of mine had made this profile with a game plan in mind. So the idea of the deck is to essentially play the same as you would play with any other Grand Blue deck, especially that you're going to be using V Negrobolt instead of using V Night Rose to ride into. So they went on to say, even though this will gain less attacks than the standard builds of V Night Rose, the numbers of swings are much larger in comparison. This is an advantage against decks that use Honolese or for pressuring Mega Colony matchups. If somehow to survive your onslaught, you'll be more defensive due to the increased shield power. It is vital to have access to Bell for your following turns to fetch your drop zone back from your bind zone. It's kind of the idea. So with Negrobolt's skill, Witch Doctor of the Dead Sea Negrobolt, at the beginning of your right phase or main phase, bind all of the non-trigger cards in your drop zone. This effect is mandatory. When this attacks, every 10 cards in your drop zone until end of turn, this unit gets +1 critical, and all of your front row gets +20k power extra. All of your units gets +5k shield for every 10 cards in your drop zone. And since this deck is focused on a lot more self-mill in comparison to other archetypes, it's going to be very easy to achieve. The card that we're running is going to be running Usurp Dragon. From drop zone, when your grade 3 or greater card is placed on your Vanguard circle, you call this card from your drop zone. Ghosty Leader Beatrice, so blast 1, choose a card from your drop zone and call it. All your ghosty units gain intercept and can guard with extra +5k shield. And when your other ghosty unit retires at the end of battle, you get to counterblast 1 and choose another ghosty with a different grade than the unit you called, with a grade less. Skull Dragon, one of your biggest beaters you'll have for Grand Blue, and of course 3 copies of G Vampire Princess the Night Fog Night Rose. You'll be getting some of these in the Stride deck set coming January 24th. Night Storm the Mighty Rogue, at the end of battle of attack, a Vanguard if you is hollowed. A hollowed is a mechanic that when the unit is placed, you declare the keyword, and at the end of turn the card is then retired. You can only use certain hollowed effects that gets you the bonus effects if you declare it, that you'll be retiring it at the end of turn. You pay the cost, choose up to 1 card not named this name from your drop zone and call it to a rearguard circle spot that this unit is not on. Grade 2 lineup, Jesse the Ghosty. If you have not countercharged this turn at the end of the battle of this unit attacks, it retires itself and you countercharge 1, and it gets +5k when it attacks. Pirate Swordsman Colombard, one of the V Premium and Premium staples. Counterblast 1 when placed. You can send a card from your deck to the drop zone, a superior card to call, but you can only use the ability once per turn. Greed Shade, discard a card from your hand, put 2 cards on the top of your deck to the drop zone, and you choose a card from your drop zone to add to hand. It also has an additional ability, it gets +5k if you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone. Stormride Goat Ship, when this unit attacks, it gets +15k until end of battle. At the end of battle, draw a card and retire this unit. It also has a hand effect continuous, so you can't be called, but you can write it though. You also can't put it in Guardian Circle because that's also categorized as normal calling. Skeleton Cannoneer with the hollow ability. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle from your drop zone, pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 1 of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. Then if it is hollowed, draw a card. With this unit, you have very good combos that you can pull off to stave off one of your massive attacks of your opponents. So having this in the deck is very essential. And our last grade 2s are Riveting Thrush. Her ability of discarding check-in top 5 to add a grade 2 or less, and its other ability of counterblast 1, choose a card from the drop zone, the superior call it, gives you multiple ways of tackling your opponent's hand size by hitting them with a whole bunch of multi-attacks. Does need to call a different card from this name, so you can't loop them into each other, sadly. Then we do run 4 copies of Tommy the Ghosties, 2 V, and then 2 G variations. Here we go. The G variations are specifically used to search for Night Rose herself, and the V versions look at top 5 to search for any of your grade 3s really. In this deck, honestly, like any grade 3s that you find is fine. You just dump them to grave because you'll be able to get them back next turn anyway. A D series card is a very big cornerstone for this deck. This is one of the cards you'll be trying to hold on to or use multiple times during the process of the game. It's going to be Sleeve Tugging Bell with the effect of when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, put all of your cards from your bind zone into your drop zone, and if you do, it gets power for each card you put. Witch Doctor of Powdered Bone Negrobolt, with its ability of discard a card from your hand, put its card to the bottom of the deck, and you call it grade 1 from your drop zone, put it to rearguard circle. If it has 10 or more cards, you get to choose any card in your drop zone and call that card instead. Skeleton Key Navigator, putting 5 cards into your drop zone by resting 2 of your rearguards. Light Elemental Honolly to slow down your opponent's multi-attacks. Peter the Ghosty unironically synergizes pretty well with situations that you might need to ride on Beatrice if you have not seen Night Rose. Calling it to rearguard circle at the end of maybe a combo attack chain allows you to net a bit of shield into certain matchups, because it does get extra 5k shield and intercept. Undying Departed Grenache, with his hollowed ability, giving you a way of being able to countercharge when you've been eating through a lot of your counterblast during your game. For Overtrigger, we have Eidos Fado, allowing you to get very important pieces from your drop zone back into your hand so you can just reuse them again. Sea Cruising Banshee, Utility Guardian Shield. And of course we have our Dewey the Ghosty, which is our other heal trigger, which gives us some counter charge or soul charge for some of our effects. For our Sentinels, we have Rampage Shade, giving you 30k shield. Chad the Ghosty for our stride crits. Gusjin for our draw trigger. Rampage Shade as the damaging crit to draw us extra cards. Another way of giving us soul and card draw is Rosi Banshee, put into soul and draw a card. And our last Sentinel is Elementaria Sanctitude. Now to our G deck. Harmonics Messiah, staple. Ghosty Great Emperor Big Obadiah of Counterblast 1, choosing 5 cards from out your deck, setting them to your drop zone, and you call them to rearguard circle, 2 per every card face up in your G zone, and of course you flip up 1 card in your G zone face up. One of the best combo strides in this archetype is Bad Bounty. At the end of battle, that this unit attack, Counterblast 1, discard 3 cards from your hand, send this back into your G zone face up, choose a grade 3 from your drop zone, and ride it to stand. Our history stride is Pirate King of Secret Schemes, Bandit Rum, with on-hit ability of Superior Calling a regard from your drop zone and giving it plus 2k. It's Negrosonger with the ability of Counterblast 1, choosing a unit from your drop zone, calling it to rearguard circle, and it getting 5k for every face-up card in your G zone. Pirate King of Everlasting Darkness Bartholomew, with its ability of when this unit attacks, Counterblast 1, choose up to 3 cards with different card names from your drop zone, call them to rearguard circle, and those unit gets plus 5k until end of turn. But its more devastating ability is Continuous. If your drop zone has 30 or more cards, when your opponent would call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle, they must call 3 or more cards at the same time. And especially if you want to guard against tiny multi-attacks like Jesse here, it's going to be super annoying that your opponent's going to need to commit 15k shield individually, like a bunch of 5ks, to just stop a measly 5k attacker. And for our G cards, Deep Corpse Dragon, send 2 cards from the top of your deck to drop zone, and if you do, get plus 5k shield. Moonlight Oriana, one of the newer G cards that we have gotten for Grand Blue. When this unit is put in Guardian, Counterblast, and the attacking unit gets -1 crit until end of battle for every 10 cards in your drop zone. So this often can become a -2 to -3 even, especially if you're setting up for Bartholomew. Negronora with the G-Flip skill, choosing one of your G-Guards and turning it face up. Choose 2 cards with different grades from your drop zone and call them to Guardian Circle. And our best utility G-Guard that we can ever have or ask for in Grand Blue, Negro Lily. Choose one of your rear guards and retire it. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, you pay the cost. Choose up to 1 normal unit with Ghosty and its card name from your drop zone. Call it to open rear guard circle, and this unit gets plus 10k shield until end of battle. Even though becoming that, we use it in tandem with Beatrice, and then Beatrice chooses Skeleton Cannoneer. allowing you to retire an opponent's rear guard potentially when they're attacking. That was it for the main deck. Now we're going to be off to mulligans, and after that, it's going to be combo section of the deck. And now cards to keep. Always mulligan for riding up successfully. Ideally, you have Colombard with CB open, riding up to secure any pieces you need for your plays. Keeping Navigator is a really good way of fueling your drop zone, and securing your history stride with G Night Rose is also a priority. Using any of the great fixes that you find also gives you a way of being able to do all of those things. So bear that in mind. And now for the combo section of the video. In an ideal situation during a bad bounty turn, you will have to field of a Skull Dragon, Night Storm, and of course your bad bounty at Stride. Your attack pattern is as follows. You attack with Skull Dragon, it retires itself. Then you attack with Bad Bounty, driving 3. And of course you do need to have 3 or more damage if you can help it. I'll give this 10k to our booster instead. That could be the booster of this Night Storm or the booster of Vanguard. Let's do the booster of Vanguard. Any hollow effects that you need to declare, of course this needs to be hollowed. Third check being another heal trigger, give that boost there as well, again. Kind of last one, return this stride by discarding 3. Then we choose our Negrobolt from the drop zone, and now we proceed to write it. We can go with Protect 1 and Protect 2 depending on what we need it for. We will go with Protect 1. Then we have Rotting Usurp Dragon that is currently in our drop zone. Superior Call it. Or if you want to, you can go with Bad Bountying first if you don't have Rotting Usurp, so you can pass off the power to Skull Dragon. Entirely up to you. Then we swing with our Vanguard. For every 10 cards, we have 22 cards in our drop zone. Our front row gets plus 40k. And our Vanguard gets an additional plus 2 crit. And we also have this boost. Here we go. Around 77k. Now twin drive. We got our critical. Power here. Crit here. Critical. I guess power here. Crit here. Then our full front row gets an additional critical. We swing with 58 here with crit. Then we swing with Night Storm, kind of blasting 1. Superior Calling. Looks like we don't have a Beatrice in here, but we could go with... We can go with Franchette if we didn't hit a Beatrice. And then we have Franchette kind of lasting 1. Choosing the Skull Dragon that we had in our drop zone. Superior Calling that. And then it gets plus 2k for every... Yeah, so that's about 40k power, 42k power to be honest. And it also gets an additional 5k since we have 5 more cards in our drop zone. So this is for 67. It's for low power value in comparison to a Night Rose attacking with a bunch of multi-attacks. It's a lot less. We could have gotten a little more if we did hit Beatrice here. But even without Beatrice, it's still about 6 to 7 attacks with very, very devastating numbers. And there we have it. Grand Blue seems very familiar compared to a lot of the other Grand Blue profiles that you've probably seen before. But the difference with this one now is that you have a lot more shield value. Your attack patterns are a little bit more tame, or a little tamer compared to high explosive and high powered Night Rose. But hopefully this doesn't deter you from playing this variation because you got some pretty decent shielding going on, and the gimmick is pretty cool. You know, getting a bunch of extra crit for how many more cards that you have in drop zone compared to other archetypes. It's very funny. Be awesome, stay awesome. Thanks for tuning in and stopping on by. If you like our content and want to see more of it, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're almost to 1K, guys. Don't give up. Never give up. Till next time.